Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about why you should care about legal issues when forming a business. But at first, it's important to note that none of the information contained in this video is intended to be legal advice specific to your situation. Please consult an attorney before making any legal decisions. You won't regret it. So why should we care about legal issues when you're forming a business? That's an excellent question. In the midst of everything, of trying to develop a product and a service, figuring out how to sell that product or service, seeing if your idea is just even worth pursuing, it can seem overwhelming to also try and educate yourself about complex legal issues in business. And sometimes it may not even seem like you're making a legal choice at all. Did you know that you're choosing a specific business entity type, which has implications for your taxes, liability, and more, by not making a decision to file paperwork? Sole proprietorships and partnerships are formed by default when you don't file paperwork otherwise. You can file paperwork to become a LLC, an S Corp, or a C Corp. There'll be another video on that. And so these early business decisions that relate to business entity, contracts, equity, intellectual property, and so much more can mean success or failure for your business. The long-term impact that these early issues have is massive, so they should be considered with care. Making the right decision can protect you and your business from liability, unnecessary taxation, intellectual property violations, and other costly impacts. It's a lot of pressure. But there are more resources than ever before available to help entrepreneurs understand these legal issues and what they should do to protect themselves. It's also important to note that you should consult an attorney before making any legal business decisions. What legal issues are most important to entrepreneurs has been a topic of some interest by many people, including the researchers who published their findings in the Journal of Small Business Management. These researchers studied legal information letters that were created by the Venture Development Legal Clinic at the University of Calgary. These letters were drafted by law students after meeting with local entrepreneurs and were specifically tailored to that entrepreneurs and their businesses' legal concerns. These researchers analyzed 294 letters from September of 1997 to April of 2000. And categorize them based on the different legal issues discussed within them. Using these methods, the researchers identified a ranking of relevant legal issues to new ventures. And this ranking helped determine what legal issues this video series will be covering. According to their research, the top 5 most relevant legal issues for new businesses were business format or entity, intellectual property, liability, regulation, and contracts. We'll highlight quickly why these issues might be relevant in the early stages of forming a business. Now, a business entity is how a business is legally organized in the United States, and this affects things like liabilities, taxes, management, financing, and much more. Intellectual property can refer to copyrights, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. It's important for a business to know how to properly protect their intellectual property, how to identify their intellectual property, and how to avoid violating somebody else's intellectual property. Liability, in this sense, refers to who is responsible for the actions of the business. This can be financial liability, such as who is responsible for the debts of the business. Depending on the nature of the business, there may also be liability associated with things like accidents or any injuries that occur on the business property or in association with its products or services. Regulation refers to the laws and rules enacted by the government to control the business and the business's actions. This can impact a new business through fines or orders to cease and desist if the business is found to be violating the regulations. Contracts can include founders' agreements, agreements with suppliers, or many other types of contracts. And these early contracts can form the basis of the business through finances, agreements to arbitrate, or other clauses. Founders' agreements can be especially impactful if the business is dissolved or if one founder wishes to leave the business. Now, all of this is to say that there are many issues to discuss and cover, and we'll be talking more about them in other videos. I'll include some resources and citations at the end of this video if you would like to do some further research and study into these different topics. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good day.